Thank you for tuning into our podcast. We are coming to you from Holyoke, Massachusetts. I am your host, Carrie, and joining me is Holyoke's very own local historian and creator of the historical tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. He offers both public and private tours, as well as presentations of the local canal systems, reservoirs, cemeteries, and churches, as well as various parks and streets in Holyoke, South Hadley, and Chicopee, Mass. Now you actually lead these tours and give these presentations yourself, is that correct?
Yes, and this is only to be talked about in the past. There's nothing to show anymore.
And today he'll be educating us on the Seymour Cutlery. So, what products does Seymour Cutlery make?
They made scissors, and the reason why they made scissors was that they would then sell them to tailors, especially in New York City. New York City was the world's biggest tailor city. They would make fine cuts of clothes from about the 1870s up to the modern day, but mostly, especially through the 1940s. And then the tailor business kind of spread a lot more around. But no one knows this fact, but the tailors of the world were mostly in New York City 100 years ago. And so they made different kinds of scissors for tailors. And you think that, oh, it can't be that sophisticated. Of course it is. Everything in the world is more sophisticated than it seems. You want to design uh, scissors or shears for different jobs that tailors are doing. If they're just doing small cuts, fine cuts, you have different scissors. If you're doing big cuts of big square yardage of material, they're going to have different scissors for that, right? So, and also, the you won't believe it, but there's little outside pieces outside the two ovals you put your fingers in, and those are designed to help your hand rest or help your finger rest in a certain place and cut better. And so we're going to talk about where they were in Holyoke and also how they produced at their mill. And we're also going to talk about what happened to this company. And but the best thing you can do right now, what products did they make? Go to my website, find the Seymour Cutlery Company, and look at some of the advertising. And I'm going to put up there a link to a catalog that they made in the past, and they put down their different designs of scissors. The company officially was called the Henry Seymour Cutlery Company, and they made 150 kinds of scissors and shears. 150 kinds. Their sales room was on 8486 Chambers Street of New York City. Their manufacturing company was on Apple Street of Holyoke, right near the Skinner Silk Mill. And they made different kinds of scissors, which were for different kinds of jobs that tailors would do. And that include scissors would have different kinds of metals that were made up of, and different plated metals. Some would be iron, but maybe it was plated with in some cases, silver or nickel or chromium. They have different lengths of handles, different forms of the blades where you hold it. They have different colors on the blades to help the tailors identify it very quickly. So you'd have black handles, maroon handles, you would have white handles, so forth. Some were at different quality, right? And they sold it out of their New York store and they made it at their forge. Now, they made, like I told you, silver and nickel plated. Now, imagine this, they had gold plated scissors also for certain cases, and gold and silver has helped prevent it from not rusting, so it'll last longer, right? And all their work was of the highest quality, so this is probably the best scissors company in the United States, and you can guess that because they were the best company to sell to the New York City tailors, and so they must have been absolutely highest quality.
And so, quickly before we continue with the rest of our interview, just to fill our listeners in, if you want to find out more information or sign up for any of his various tours, you can check out his website at holyokecanaltour.org. And there he has both videos of the various stops along each tour and also past and present photos of the historical sites throughout as well. And if you're interested in setting up a private tour, you can email him directly at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And they are perfect for fun and educational outdoor activities for the whole family or for your group parties, especially your special occasions and get-togethers. And they're also good just for getting outdoors for the day. So getting back to our interview, what was production in the mill like?
Okay, now it's important to know where they were. They were between the first and second level canal on Appleton Street, and they were using canal water to power their turbines. And this they did because they did have machinery around, right? And the turbines would allow power to be generated. The turbine itself was in the back towards the south east section of the building, and then the other sections would do specific jobs. Their mill mostly was one floor except for the part on Appleton Street, and that part on Appleton Street was mostly the finishing of the product. This is where they put the different colors on it. They would put also the nickel, silver, or gold onto it. They have the storage wing, the administration wing, and the polishing wing, and the packaging wing. But the real production took place off of the sections that weren't near Apple Street. And you need a forge because they made their own metal from scratch. And then once you forged it into shape, you would have a grinders to make it as smooth as possible. And then you'd fit the two halves together because scissors are two halves bolted together in the middle. And remember that you want to have everything possible made there like you can. And so they had steps I still don't understand. There's a step called Japanin, and I have no clue what that is. I want to figure that out someday. All right, so all these steps were very important. No more important was that back step on the forge, and then the fitting room, put them together, grind them down to shape. And if you have 150 types of scissors, imagine how much production has to happen. What they probably did in this small space was do one run 1 week of one type and do another run the next week. Get enough of them ready for maybe 3 years, and then enough going the third week. Keep going like that.
So what happened to this company?
Okay, so that's a mystery to me. They lasted around Holyoke for a very, very long time. They were started up in Holyoke in 1878. All right, and you can see them next to the Skinner Mill, and that location is totally empty. They were around from 1878 to about the 19 teens. Then I lose track of them. I know that Mr. Henry Seymour and his brother died about from 1905 to 19 teens. His brother, Robert Seymour. I know that they died up, but I would think some of the other family members would take over, but I can't see that happen. They seem to have left Holyoke, and they're gone, and I can't pick them up anywhere else in the United States. People have pointed out their catalog to me, and everything seems to have disappeared. All right, but remember, my website is going to have a couple advertisements, a catalog link, and they're replaced in that building by another Farapaka. Now, Farapaka had 3 big mills and then 4 smaller, tiny places for storage and drying out substances, and Farapaka took over this place. Nowadays, you go there, and it's just a part of the front lawn for the computer center that's out there. Thank you for listening to this podcast.
And thank you, Robert, for educating us on your tours. And we want to thank our listeners again for tuning in. And you can tune into a large selection of our other podcasts and much more. Again, at his website, that's hoyokecanaltour.org. And you can also email him directly for private tours or to inquire about anything else at bobcat4214, capital B, at yahoo.com. And be sure to check out his upcoming 2024 season tours and more as they become available. Thank you for tuning in.